Good evening. Welcome to day 2 of the Career Match Cup, event 2 on the ALPARI World Match Racing Tour. The overnight leaders Ian Williams, Tovar and last year's winner Bjorn Hansen will be looking to pick up where they left off yesterday and get more wins on the board. The racing conditions here at the Gyeongkok Marina are near on perfect, so that should mean some exciting races.
Collision there. Bjorn Hansen is the new king of the Career Match Cup.
Without delay, let's go to a match in Flight 7 between Tovar and Phil Robertson.
So coming up to our feature match, the entry here between Tovar, Phil Robertson. An eagerly anticipated battle between these two young established skippers on the World Tour. Tovar entering from the left-hand side of the starting area. And here comes Phil Robertson, late in from that starboard side, perhaps giving away that starboard advantage to the Australian Tovar. Tovar representing the Career America's Cup team here at the Career Match Cup, so home soil for this America's Cup challenger. Phil Robertson, the winner from Match Race Germany, will be looking to try and carry those winning ways into this matchup. Tovar skipper of one of the 3 strong teams from last year's ALPARI World Match Racing Tour. This one of the only ALPARI World Match Racing Tour regattas that Tovar is sailing this year, so he'll be looking to make a big impression. Both boats sailing off high.
Or do our timing, basically.
If we tack out, it might be a shoot. Yeah, something 2:30.
Off towards that right-hand side of the race course.
Pretty marginal is going to be heading up.
We'll be right.
He's closing up now. He's going to have to tack.
Okay.
So very unconventional pre-start from these two. Tovar leading the pair off up the beat. I think the exclusion zone down that shore looking perhaps to come into play. Both boats now turning back, and Phil Robertson electing to lead the pair as he jibes in front of Tovar.
But he'll go down.
There we see a very restrictive starting box. The area of the pre-start that these boats able to utilize, limited by that line of yellow buoys. The harbour here in Korea is littered with cables and underwater hazards, and the race committee sensibly screening these racing yachts from those underwater issues. Down that right-hand side, here we can see Phil Robertson using that exclusion zone, sailing along the line of the yellow buoys. Tovar with no option either but waiting behind Phil Robertson or sailing above him if he goes above. Phil Robertson obviously turning up and looking to hook Tovar back up onto the wind. Tovar there diving for the inside. A little over a minute to go. You can see both boats right on the edge of that exclusion line. There's a yellow buoy just to the left of Tovar. Matt Cornwall on the bow, calling clear to swing. Tovar now committing to that high line. 59 seconds to go. I think hoping he can roll over the top of Phil Robertson into this pre-start. There we see both high off the line of the committee boat. Tovar Mirsky rolling over the top of the line, and Tovar Mirsky over there. A big mistake from the Australian. I think Phil Robertson able to hold Tovar Mirsky above the line. I'm not exactly sure what Tovar Mirsky's plan was in that pre-start. He sailed above the committee boat. He looked in all sorts of bother, and as he then sailed, the gun went and he sailed over the top of Phil Robertson, and he looked utterly confused. I'm not sure if they had the wrong time on the boat, but a terrible start from Tovar Mirsky. Phil Robertson now leading this match off to the right-hand side. I think dealing with a little bit of an issue with another match, but still in a very strong position as Tovar Mirsky restarts effectively from now. Phil Robertson already with a 6 or 7 boat length lead. I think Tovar Mirsky must have just not eaten his breakfast this morning, because his brain is obviously not in gear. And it is Phil Robertson.
I'm on board with Tovar Mirsky's team, and we'll reflect a bit on today. Well, first of all, we'll set up why you're here, because you're a guest of the Korea governor.
That's right, sailing for Team Korea. Very exciting. Happy to represent White Tiger Challenge at the Korea Match Cup. And, you know, so far so good. Got good guys on the front, Cat Flat, bulkers from the full-time AC crew, and some of my old teammates from last year. So it's a good vibe. We're a bit rusty, but getting there.
We just showed some footage from the Phil Robertson race. Can you talk us through what happened there?
Well, we lost. I mean, Phil did a great job. He got a better start than us. He basically, it was all in the start. He held us over, and we had to go back to the start line. We could have mucked up that, and we couldn't quite catch up to him enough. He sailed around the course really cleanly, and you know, we caught up a little bit, but not enough to win. And you know, those boys were sort of well practiced after their win in Germany and just couldn't keep up.
You went on to face Kim in what was a very interesting and short race.
Tovar's entered, and he's looking up and can't quite understand where the Korean team are. That's going to be a penalty on the Korean team. Tovar tacks underneath the committee boat and comes across to try and prevent Kim from Korea from even entering the starting box. Here comes Tovar Mirsky. He's the leeward boat. Kim will have to keep clear of him. And can he get into the starting line? Tovar Mirsky preventing Kim from entering. The yellow flag on the umpire boat there signifying that Kim already has 1 penalty. Now, is Tovar Mirsky able to inflict another one before the pre-start? Kim now circling down. He doesn't look like he's got an answer for the aggression of the young Australian.
Holding.
Kim now circling round, desperately trying to get back through that line. Tovar tacks underneath. A second big luff from Tovar Mirsky. Not giving Kim Jong-lim from Korea any mercy.
Hold on. Back.
There, I think the short hoot from the umpire indicating a second penalty. Kim unable to enter the pre-starting line successfully within the predetermined time limit, so incurring that second penalty. That's 2 penalties, a dream start to this match for Tovar Mirsky against this up-and-coming team from Korea.
Holding, no high. It's okay. This is practice.
Kim now in the starting box, trying to follow Tovar over to this right-hand side of the line. And Tovar attacks back and dials down towards Kim. He's going to try and do the do on him. If he can get 3 penalties on Kim, that's an instant black flag, and Tovar Murski's on starboard. Kim must make sure he keeps clear here. Oh! A turn down from Kim forces an avoidance from Tovar Murski. Now, we may well see an unprecedented 3rd penalty inflicted on the Korean by the umpire team here. That would be a black flag. And there it is, we see the black flag, the double penalty and the black flag. Kim obtains the 1st penalty from not being in the starting area, a 2nd for not entering correctly, and then with that careless infringement on Tovar Murski as he tries to lead back into the start. He gets the 2nd penalty. That's the end of the match, folks.
He's being on the phone, he got distracted and didn't realise his race was starting. And you know, with match racing, you have to enter into the sort of the start box of the race, and we managed to hold him out because we'd done the things in the rules, and a couple of penalties subsequent from that, he was disqualified. So we didn't even have to go around the course, and yeah, he's got a bit to. He won't be on his phone next time, I'm sure.
I don't think he will be. We don't see many black flags, but there was also nearly one with Ferrarese. Have you ever had that where you've felt like refusing to carry on?
We've been black flagged before, for sure. You know, sometimes 3 penalties just adds up pretty quick. The rules have changed a little bit, so we might not see 3 penalties as regular now. But yeah, it's part of the game, and we just got to go on, be consistent, try and make the least mistakes, and see how we go.
I've stayed out on the water to get a good view of one of our feature matches today. Last year's world champion Ian Williams taking on last year's winner here at the Korea Match Cup, Bjorn Hansen.
Bjorn Hansen losing to Johnny Berntsen, his countryman. So both boats looking to bounce back in this match. One of them's going to go home disappointed. Here comes Williams from that right-hand side. Excellent entry from both. Ian Williams very aggressively up towards Bjorn Hansen here. The boats are going to be very close. Bjorn perhaps just doing enough to avoid Williams. Very combative restart from and dial up from both Hansen and Williams. Now it begins. The game of chess. There we see Bjorn Hansen. He's backing his main one side, then the other. He's trying to slow his boat, trying to be able to swing his stern out and bow out behind the stern of Williams. There he goes, the sails continuing to back. Williams happy to keep a little bit more momentum on his boat. I think we'll see Williams tack away here at some point and look to perhaps jibe back and redial up Bjorn Hansen. There goes Williams, he's sailing away on port. The whole crew there, all 4 of them hanging off that shroud on that windward side. Trying to rappel the boat down, and Hansen now falling away onto port as well. He's going to be a lot slower. He did all that backing, don't forget, with his mainsail, and he's completing down onto port, and Williams coming back for another bite of his Swedish competitor here.
Come on, you got to do more!
You've got to do more, Williams saying.
That's only half his helm. Flag him.
Williams saying he didn't do enough there. Let's yellow flag. One of those tricky ones there. For the umpires, there's the green flag saying no incident. But Bjorn now, Bjorn goes for attack. He thought he could get out, and I think there may have been contact between the 2 boats there. Bjorn trying to go for what we call balls of steel. He goes turning his boat towards Ian. He is the giveaway boat all the way through that, and he ends up crashing his boat into the side of Williams. And there we see the umpire. That's a blue flag, a blue penalty. That's Bjorn Hansen that infringed. He went for steel balls, he didn't get it. And first blood to Williams in this exchange. Hansen will be disappointed with that. He went for the killer move. It didn't pay off. And now he's behind. He's just sitting there frantically reassessing his time and distance. He knows he's going to have to close this start out, dominate this start really to have any chance in the match. Bjorn Hansen turning back round now. Despite that call, he's going to have to be the aggressor here. Ian Williams elects to lead and jibes in front of Bjorn Hansen, and now it's Bjorn Hansen's job to come piling into the triple world champion, driving back towards the line. We see inches separating the boats. Bjorn Hansen sailing as fast as possible, already a war wound on the bow of his boat there, visible from this camera on the stern of Williams. Bowman signalling there with the moving arm, saying, you're clear to turn your boat, you're clear to turn your boat. Small amounts of Bjorn Hansen's boat falling into the water there. But only a small flesh wound as both boats turn back towards the start line. Jerry Mitchell wailing on the main sheet, looking to sail as high as possible, look to try and squeeze up on Bjorn Hansen. We see the jibs coming down, trying to minimize the drag as both boats track up to windward towards the committee boat. We see the flags there. Ian below downwind from that top mark, so going to struggle to shut from there, but he's giving it a go. Williams high, looking to close the deal, but siding Bjorn's a little too advanced and bringing that bow down. That start gun, and both boats absolutely neck and neck, but with that slow speed on both hulls, it will be advantage Williams as both boats try and build. Williams is really tight on Bjorn. Bjorn with no option but to tack away. Williams still building off to this left-hand side.
Smooth, slow turn.
And here comes Williams, he's calling slow tack. You know he's down speed, so trying to keep as much of the speed on the boat as he turns through the wind. Now Parker snaps the jib on the leeward side as both boats track up to windward. Expected to see Hansen tack up towards Williams at that point. Williams now able to get up to speed before they come together. I think a small mistake from Bjorn Hansen there as he tacks across. He's going to be crossing behind Ian Williams at this point. Bjorn has that right of way, but unable to capitalize on it, and he sails back off towards the left. I think Ian's going to be happy to leave him here. We've seen that right-hand side of the race course paying dividends in the previous matches, and penalty down and trailing Bjorn Hansen, not getting the better of that pre-start at all.
Yeah. The halyard looks good though,
That all-important tack where he turned round, went for steel balls in that pre-start, turned his boat hard towards Williams, while they were still very close together, thinking he had just enough distance to slip his bow down inside the hull of Ian Williams, but that not being the case, the bows just touching and Ian managing to secure a penalty onto Bjorn Hansen. Bjorn Hansen coming in from this left side. Now we've seen that right side pay quite effectively in previous matches. That's the way Williams elected to go, and as both boats come back together, looks relatively even given the situation. Bjorn still behind, but not by much as he comes in from this left-hand side. A nice move from Bjorn Hansen. Both boats pretty close together now. Bjorn.
Okay, tacking now.
Ian's going to try and lead bow. Bjorn Hansen's going to tack right on the line of Bjorn. Look to force him off into the tack. Bjorn was already bowed down there, and as Ian tacks, Bjorn Hansen puts the boat into an ultra-high mode. Tries to scallop off the line of Ian Williams. Now Bjorn Hansen, we see there Ian Williams getting to the exclusion zone.
Slow tack, yeah.
Bjorn calling for Ian to tack, and for me, Ian very slow to turn there. Bjorn said, you tack, and Ian Williams is then obliged to tack straight away, and Ian there perhaps pushing the rules a little bit, looking to gain as much of an advantage on that inside as he could, and this is advantage Hansen as Ian Williams goes into a luff. He completes back onto port. Bjorn comes with him. Now we're going to see Bjorn Hansen tacking right on the lee bow.
Room to tack!
Ian Williams calls for room to tack again. Bjorn's going to be wise to it this time. He coasts across and follows Ian right into that tack. The point where Bjorn says you tack, if there is collision, then it's right away Bjorn. Bjorn putting the squeeze onto Ian straight away. He slowly tracks up towards his line. Bjorn sailing as high as possible. That wind coming round Bjorn's sails and up onto the mainsail of Ian. Ian with nowhere to go here. Very tight on the exclusion zone. And there's the luff from Bjorn. Ian in danger here. He's very close together. The gap between the boats now only inches as Bjorn Hansen comes dead head to wind. If there's contact here, it's Williams that's keep clear, and that gap very narrow.
I think we've got it. Should have gone jib down. Okay, here's that's all of it.
Bjorn electing to drop his jib in, still keeping his up.
Sheet it on. Got to get room, yeah? 2.
Oh, it's
One.
close.
Hey, don't twist.
It's close.
She's turning into us.
It's close. There's contact.
And press.
For me, Ian Williams is in risk here as we go to an umpire. That's a green flag. There was contact.
Do you agree? No, but have we got room?
Perhaps weak umpiring from the team here at the Korea Match Cup. Reluctant to wade in on a decision with only a small turn, and Bjorn coming up for the turn. Ian has the rights to try and come in here and stop him. Here comes Bjorn, he goes for the turn in. Williams piles in at the mark. He crashes his boat between the hull and the hull of Bjorn Hansen and the mark. I think Bjorn possibly tacking in Ian Williams' water there. We could see a double penalty on Bjorn.
No drama.
There's the double penalty. The umpires decide.
Craig Mitchell, Tour Director of the ALPARI World Match Racing Tour, joins me. And your reflections on day 2, Craig?
Yeah, we've had a great day today. We've finished 9 flights and we've got 3 teams that have all on 6 points. We've got Williams, we've got Robertson, we've got Mersky. So it's getting pretty tight at the top there. We've seen some great action out in the water. Mersky using the obstruction zone around here to great effect to win a match. Williams and Gilmore having their usual tussle. We've had ships through the course. So it's pretty tight out there. So it's been a good day all round, really.
And of course the conditions made way for all that fabulous action, and it's looking similar tomorrow, I hear.
Yeah, I think the weather's cleared up a bit this morning. It was a little bit light, but the sea breeze came in the afternoon and gave us some really great racing.
And including that racing, within that we have the leaderboard to bring you, because this is the qualifying standings after 15 flights. Ian Williams, Phil Robertson, Tovar Mersky are all teams tied on 6 points. Then below them, Bjorn Hansen is in 4th. Johnny Bernson of the Bernson sailing team with 4 wins and 3 losses. Pierre-Antoine Morvan of France is on 4 with 4 losses as well, identical to Laurie Jury in 7th. Peter Gilmore, who needs to really try and turn this around like he did at Match Race Germany and excel for the quarterfinals. Will he make it this time? Yanmar Racing Team at the moment, 3 wins and 2 losses. Will Tiller, fairly new tour card debutant here from New Zealand, Full Metal Jacket Racing, 3 wins, 4 losses. Simone Ferrarese, Bianchi Park and Tai Young Kim follow. And at the bottom there, as you can see, no wins but 8 losses. So we're hoping to see more from the Koreans tomorrow. And I can join and be joined by Simon Shaw, our racing commentator and double world champion now, just to run through some of the day's proceedings. We've talked about key incidents there with Craig. There were plenty of them. What were particular highlights for you?
For me, I mean, starting I think with Laurie Jury and Tovar Mersky, an excellent performance by Laurie Jury, leading Tovar Mersky all around the racecourse, and then right at the bottom mark, Tovar Mersky able to use the exclusion zone at the bottom of the course to sneak in at the bottom, catch Laurie Jury unawares and to sneak round. And for me, that was a real feature of Mersky's day. He just kept coming back. We saw him trailing, I think, in 3 of his races today, and in each one of those 3, flipping it round, getting back into the lead. So a really strong performance for him, and I think well deserved at the top of the board. But you know, he's going to have to start working on his starts if I think he's going to close this regatta out. Laurie Jury, again, a feature of my day. Didn't do a particularly good job against Pierre Morvan when I was on board commentating, and you know, disappointment for him there. But again, some really strong races. That first match-up of the day, Ian Williams defeating the triple world champion for a newbie to the World Tour. Excellent work. And then Phil Robertson, the journeyman of the tour. We saw him perform really well in Germany. He went out today, he just put the results in. I didn't really talk about him much. I didn't notice his races, but he was just winning them and winning them and winning them. And for me, that's a sign of someone who's really on a march, quietly moving forward and moving up the leaderboard, and we find him there suddenly at the top today.
We saw a black flag for Kim. We also saw Ferrarese at one point refusing to go on in a race. I mean, those are, I suppose, a little bit of sour points, but do you expect that in match racing?
I mean, it's a very passionate sport, and to be good at match racing, you have to be a passionate competitor, and occasionally these things do happen. For me, you know, unusual to see Simone Ferrese, actually just refusing to do a penalty, that perhaps pretty unknown and unforeseen. I'm not sure exactly what really led up to that incident and quite how justified he may have been, but for me, we have a very strong umpiring here at Match Race Korea, led by Dave Tallis, and superb race management. So I think when you find yourself on the receiving end, I think he was just a little bit caught out by the start and perhaps made some mistakes himself. So I'd be surprised if any of that real stubbornness was justified.
It looks like we'll complete qualifying tomorrow. Who do you see going through to the quarterfinals?
I mean, those top three for sure. Ian Williams sailing super strong here at Match Cup Korea. For me, probably the standout team of today. Really solid performance and just sailing that boat for me, just that tiny bit better than everyone else. Everything absolutely crisp, front to back, and really clear communication through from Ian. I think the real tussle is going to be down at the bottom. We've got, Peter Gilmore, Yanmar Racing right in the thick of the action down there. Laurie Jury, he's on 4-4 in the middle of the leaderboard. He's above Peter at the moment, but he's got to keep winning to stay in that comfort zone. And it'll just be that sort of tussle right at the bottom there. I know William Tiller close to the cusp there. The two Korean teams, they've come on a long way. Every time we have one of these Korean Match Cups, those Korean guys get better and better and better, but still perhaps a little level below the rest of the field. So we'll see how that works out. It's going to be that bottom order who makes that final 7th and 8th position. That's where the story is going to be tomorrow.
Be interesting to see what happens with Peter Gilmore, whether he can do another Match Race Germany and put in that performance to see him in the quarterfinals. But some great performances there. We'll see how the three leaders get on tomorrow. Join us for more. We'll be back then. Bye for now.